he was like on a roll like an NBA player or something.
Oh man, it was
decent.
Man, I feel like a rock star as an auditor, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I found a company, this is before COVID, where I could be in audit and we traveled 2 weeks, pretty much 2 weeks out of the month. So it was a manufacturing company that basically owned multiple mom and pop manufacturing companies throughout Europe, Asia, United States. Those were their biggest space. So every 2 weeks, I was flying out somewhere, going to audit another business, and it was great. Intimidating too, though, because I remember the first time, I flew to Germany, and it was a company that was in Ulm, Germany. So basically a rural area in Germany. And I remember I was still new. I was probably like like a couple months into the job, and everybody in the office was used to traveling.
Right.
So they were like, okay, go ahead and book your flight. Go ahead. Okay, we'll meet you in Germany. I was like, whoa, wait, what do you mean? I'll just meet you in Germany. Like, can you, like, I know how to buy a ticket. I know how this process works, but I'm like,
what hotel y'all staying at?
Right,
like, what
hotel, what airline, and the team showed me the ropes and everything, but it was so routine for them. And that was a big eye opener for me. I traveled to different countries before, but like for work, by myself, a new country. And then I'm also looking like they, speaking German. Do they know English? That was a big like, oh, okay.
And how long, and you would be there for 2 weeks at a time?
Yeah.
Or every 2 weeks you travel?
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be 2 weeks, or sometimes it'll be like 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
And like, how often were you home? You worked that gig for how long? You say you worked that?
It was a year and a half, because it was really.
And did you stay constantly just like traveling, or did you like have time?
I had time where it was like 2 to 3 weeks where I would be at home. But if I had to go fly within the U.S., I'd probably, when would we fly out? Sunday, and then come back Friday. And then if it was international, we would leave that Saturday weekend, and I think come back either that Thursday or Friday, like flying
just
back.
Constant. It was he was like on a roll like an NBA player or something.
Oh man, and then but this is before COVID, and how the company had us set up. Oh man, it was
decent.
Man, I feel like a rock star as an auditor, and I was like, man, this is crazy. I was like, we could book. Because
nobody usually like auditors. Like that gig got a stigma to it for sure.
Oh yeah. Like people, there was times I would go in the office and they would announce, "Oh, the auditor's here," and I'm like, "Sir, you don't need to. There's only a handful of people that I need to talk to. You don't need to." Announce that I'm
everybody needs to know. No, everybody needs to know you're in there.
Auditor. I was just like,
See, I used to work for a company in the social services space, the case manager, and we dealt with clients, and they would pretty much tell the government we're going to do X, Y, Z, and the government will come through to make sure we were doing X, Y, Z.
Oh yeah.
To make sure so we could get funding for the next. So your files had to be a certain way, and it had to be a certain language, and man, whenever it was an audit coming up. Everybody needs to know. You need to be on point regardless.
Right.
But in real life, in that field, you're dealing with like at-risk individuals, and it's like a lot of boots on the ground you're doing. So sometimes your paperwork and files might get a little off, but when the auditors come, you want to try to tighten it up.
Right.
So from that standpoint, I can understand why they making an announcement.
No, I get it. It's just because I'm so used to being in this space. It's like, I understand and I get it. But what I try to approach with people is like, look at it as just like it's a health check. Look at it as is a maintenance, and tying that into day to day. I didn't realize until I started working in other businesses that, like, you have audits, but just documentation and paperwork of what you do just becomes so important, because absolutely. Or if you didn't document it, didn't happen.
That's the golden rule. You know what I'm saying?
And you never know when someone will come back and say, "Hey, what is this and that?" And then oh, I got that. And then you going back and looking for it. And he's like, oh, I don't have anything versus, oh, I have something. This is what happened. Okay,
Absolutely.
great.
And when you say getting rid of the sickness, it kind of took me to like, because I didn't work with some individuals who kind of like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And, you know, they were cancerous to the team. Mm-hmm. So if the auditors do their job correctly and everything goes as it should systematically, I would say, then it's kind of like when you know, take medicine or you dealing with a sickness, you kind of getting the problem out. So somebody might lose their job, but ultimately for the company, it's still what's going to keep things rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they and every business is different. I notice, because I worked at firms of all different kind of sizes, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, and what I noticed is those that, you know, was really top dollar, that's 8, 9 figures. It was just like more paperwork and document. Mm-hmm.
Thorough, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot more thorough, because also the pedigree of clients and customers that they have as well are also requesting and requiring of that. So that was a bit of an eye opener. Or sometimes what you said, to your point, a CYA of being in commercial real estate and just kind of being exposed. Like with my role, I see what people don't see, like the the bad stuff that goes on, and right. sort of managing that, and, you know, certain things that you didn't think, like if someone like, you know, is in your establishment and like trips over wire, you might sit there, but that's not true, but that's actually could be a potential, you know, liability. And it's like, wait a minute, someone's gonna say, you work for this company, let me see if I get some money out of it. So it's like, that's a in terms of that risk and audit and everything, that's where it's like, wait, what can go wrong? How do we make sure, you know, we don't?
And you said a gym, like the 8, 9, 10 figure companies are more thorough with the paperwork. They don't take it for granted as much as maybe a smaller entry level or up and coming business. So the more money you make and the more money you moving, the tighter you have to be. Oh, you want to protect that, especially with wealth. You want the more money you make, you also want to have that protection element in mind. So that's where all the documents come in, legal agreements, all that jazz. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I said, if I came up on like 7, 8 figures, I'd probably find somebody like you. Mm-hmm. Let's say you inherited $20 million.
Okay.
Would you, cause like therapists have therapists. Mm-hmm. Would you get somebody in finance to help, or because you in this space, you feel like you can do it? Or would you get somebody to hold you accountable maybe? Does it work like in
I definitely would.
You still would go pay somebody?
Oh yeah, because it's still, because it's like, as I think about like that 20 million, right? There's somebody else that is out there that can give me way better rate of return on my money than I can. Now, I'm gonna play it smart and not give them the full bag. There's definitely a bag that a portion of that 20 mil I'm gonna have on like reserve, saved up to make sure I'm good and the family's good, but then also have a portion of it where I'm saying,
let's
you professionals, right?
Let's get it.
Let's build. Let's see what we could be able to. Let's see what we could be able to do with it. I just came to realize this, in this world, your time is very finite, and it's a bunch of professionals that specialize in things that could do, a way better job than you. So why don't, as I'm building this, why don't I just go ahead and slide you some money and say, okay, you're going to make these investments, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, great.